Hi, it's Sean here with part 2 of the video on double binds. So in the first half of the video we talked about the NLP double bind, which is sometimes called the illusion of choice, where we assume what we want to take place and then we give the other person a choice as to how it takes place. Do you want to go into trance now or later in the session? But really a double bind is much more complicated and much more powerful than that simple one. A double bind has a few pieces that need to be in place. First of all, there needs to be a relationship between the person who's laying the double bind and the person who's caught in the double bind. A relationship of power, so it may be authority, it may be a parent. Very often the relationship is one where the subject of the double bind doesn't want to insult or lose the love of the person who is laying the double bind. So the typical example, and this is from Watzlawick's work, is the child who is given 2 ties for his birthday by his mother, a red tie and a blue tie. And he comes down for dinner and he's wearing the red tie and his mother says, "What's wrong? Don't you like the blue tie?" Now it doesn't sound like a double bind, it doesn't have that duality, going to trance now or later. So let's just think about the structure. So the child wants to keep and maintain the love of the mother. The way the mother speaks when she says, "Don't you like the blue tie?" she's sort of implying that if he doesn't like the blue tie, it's an insult to her. Somehow he's insulting her, somehow he's rejecting the gift that she gave him. Now he could go upstairs and he could put on the blue tie and come down, but she'd say, "What's wrong? Don't you like the red tie?" He could go and put on both ties, but then she'd say, "Are you crazy wearing 2 ties?" So within this frame of he has to accept and value every gift his mother gives him, otherwise he's shown that he doesn't love her, he's got no way out of that. That's why it's a double bind. Now, you may say, well, that's an extreme case. What's this got to do with change work or therapy? Think of a client who has come for weight loss, and they walk in, and you're talking about how they behave, and how they eat, and they tell you that they can't leave food on their plate. They have to clean their plate. Well, the likelihood is that's a double bind which their mother or one of their parents or one of their carers installed in them when they were a child. And the double bind would have basically have been 2 messages. You can leave food on your plate or not. But the second message is, I cooked this food for you with love, and if you don't eat this food, clearly you don't love me. You don't appreciate what I've done for you. So there's that emotional pressure in the second level message. And these messages are done in different systems. So one might be visual in terms of food on the plate, or it might be eat up all your food, it might be verbal. But the second message about love is done in the tonality of how things are said. And therefore, even though your client is no longer with their mother or with their carer, they still have to clean their plate, because if they don't, they feel they are unconsciously rejecting that carer, rejecting the love of that carer. So this is a real thing that clients can bring. You can use a double bind in a positive way, and the way you do that is you leave an escape route from the double bind, and the escape route basically is if the client steps into the change which they want, then they can escape from the double bind. So let's give a quick example, and you can see this in if you rewatch the first part of the video. In the opening chain, there's a double bind there, and the double bind goes something like, you're with your client likes you and respects you because you've taken time to build the rapport, and you say to your client something like, "I am going to do everything I know how to do so that when you leave my office at the end of the session, you no longer have this issue." Okay, so why is that a double bind? Well, first of all, because there's a relationship. Your client likes you, respects you, and wants to please you. And what you're saying is, I, as the coach, am prepared to do everything that I know how to do so that when you leave my office, you no longer have this issue. The implication is that if I, as the coach, I'm prepared to do everything I know how to do, the implication is a question: are you, as the client, prepared to do everything that you know how to do to solve your problem? And we all know that if your client is not invested in the solution to their own issue, then it's very difficult for them to change. So this is a way of using a double bind to get your client invested in the solution to their own issue, in taking the steps which they have to take to solve that issue. So if you want to learn how to use this pattern and all sorts of other Ericksonian patterns with your clients to create powerful change, join us at the Hypnothoughts Live pre-conference. It's going to be August 13th, 14th and 15th. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday 2019 down in Las Vegas, and stay for the conference. It's a great conference. There'll be a link somewhere up to the right or above this video, so click that and hopefully you're still in time for the early bird special, which is a great offer, as you'll see. So hope to see you in Vegas. Take care. Bye.